everybody. Welcome to 7 Bites. I'm Jennifer DeMoss, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. This is our brand new YouTube channel, and this is our second episode. I can't believe we're already on episode 2. Wow. So last episode we talked a little bit about transitioning from our liquid phases to our solid phases. And so today I'm going to give you a great recipe that you can use for the solid phase. And this is one that you and your family can eat together, and you guys are just going to love it. These are my wonderful meatloaf bites, and they're just these tiny little balls of perfection that are just absolute heaven in your mouth. So let's get started. All right, here in this bowl I've got a pound of lean ground chuck. And it's kind of important that you use the leaner meats, because something I found out over time is that the leaner the cut of meat you have, the higher the protein count. And you know, it's just because fat takes up room in that meat, and so you want more protein than fat. And it's just important because you want that protein in. So got your meat right here, and what I'm going to add to it, I've got 1 egg that I'm going to break in a bowl. Something that I kind of get into the habit too is breaking my eggs separately. Just because, you know, if it's a bad egg or you get shell in your egg, like I just did actually, right here, a little piece of shell. Haha, that's why you want to do it in a separate bowl, kiddos, because you don't want that shell in your meatloaf, because later on it's going to be really, really hard to get it out. So I'm just going to give that just a quick little beat with my fork. Bum-ba-da-bum-bum-bum. And then we're going to just dump that right on in there. So that's our egg, and we're only using 1 egg as opposed to 2 eggs, and there's a reason for that. This meatloaf recipe actually has no breadcrumbs in it. You can add some Parmesan cheese later on if you want to, but me, I'm not. I'm going to beat my bowl to death, but I'm not going to add any breadcrumbs. So, all right, what I'm adding right now is I'm just going to add ketchup. I'm not actually adding this to my bowl yet. I am making the glaze, and we're going to put half of this into our meatloaf, and the other half we're going to put on top before we bake it. So, and it's really nummy and kind of gives that old-fashioned mom's meatloaf kind of flavor to it. So to that, just to add a little more flavor, I'm going to add a little bit of steak sauce. You can omit the steak sauce if you want to. You can use something else besides ketchup if you want to. You can use all steak sauce, all ketchup, you know, whatever. Make it your own recipe. This is, you know, it's a technique. It's not, you know, necessarily set in stone what you have to add to it. So, and sometimes I even like to add other stuff like minced onion or stuff like that. My kids don't like that, so we're not going to add it this time. All right, so I'm just going to add half of this to my meat mixture here, just like that. All right, we're going to set that aside because we're going to use that here in just a second. Now I'm going to take my rings off because my rings are too important to get gooped up with meat. So. And make sure you use clean hands. Make sure you wash your hands beforehand. So, all right, so we're just going to dig in here. And you want to make sure when you do your meat, you want to make sure not to overmix it, because when you do that, it can get really tough and it can lose some of its moisture. And it's really important that you get that moisture. And that luscious, squishy sound is all that goodness going into your meat. And that's exactly what you want. And it's going to be delicious. All right, so, all right, now that my hands are good and goopy, I'm going to go run over here and wash them real quick, because anytime you're working with raw meat, you want to make sure that you wash your hands really good. So I'm going to go do that right quick, and I'll be right back. All right, now that my hands are all clean, I'm going to show you how we're going to transition these into our little mini muffins. And over here, I've got the cutest little muffin tin right here. I love this thing because you can make, you know, of course you can use it for what it's intended for, which is the little mini muffins, or you can use it for this, which, you know, is our little meatloaf bites. You can, you know, do a cookie batter in there. You can do anything with these. These are great. So all I'm using here, I'm using a cookie scoop, just a regular cookie scoop that you can pick up, you know, grocery store, wherever, and that's what I'm going to use to fill these with. Look how easy that is. I mean, you don't have to do any, you know, fancy measuring or anything like that. Just scoop and scoop, and there you go. So super, super, super simple. All right, and then our glaze that we're going to do, again, this is the ketchup and the steak sauce that we mixed together a second ago. All we're going to do is just going to add about 1/2 tablespoon to each one of your little bites here. Again, super simple, nothing too complicated. You know, I have 4 kids. I really don't need complications in the kitchen, to be perfectly honest. So this just makes my life so much easier. All right, we're gonna put the last dab of our glaze on here. And look at that. Those look good already, don't they? Well, no, not really. I'm not into eating raw meat. So we're gonna stick these in the oven at 425 and we're gonna bake them up for about 15 minutes or so. When you pull them out, you wanna make sure that you check them with a meat thermometer. It should read to about 155 to 160 degrees. And then you're gonna let them rest for about 5 to 10 minutes before you eat them to make sure all the yummy juices that are, you know, had come out of the meat, they all redistribute back into your meat. So by the magic of television, I happen to have some delicious little morsels that are already cooked. Look at that. Look how good those look. Look at that. You have... Ha!
Did I show up
Mom's
in time
coming to check my work.
Yes, I'm not gonna.
So look at that. Look at that glaze on there, and that's all caramelized, and the meat is just perfectly browned all the way. And again, remember, you're going to want to check the temperature on those to make sure that they're perfectly cooked, but these are going to be. So we're going to give these a taste right now. Make sure you get that glaze on there. Mm-hmm. That's the most important part right there. Look at that. Look at all those juices. Mmm. Mmm. That's so good. Mm-hmm. Happy mouth.
Very good. Very good.
So good. Your family is going to love these. I promise. This is one of those things that you can make that's appropriate for you, but your family's going to want to eat it too because it's just too good not to share. That's, you know, you got the juiciness of the meat because you added that ketchup and the steak sauce, and it just added so much flavor and so much moisture in there. And you have that delicious glaze that just kind of melted all over everything and gives that amazing kind of a tangy mouthfeel that you can only get from Mom's Meatloaf. So, how'd I do, Mom?
You did good. Real good.
Good. So there you have it, guys. Super simple recipe that your whole family is going to just love. So don't forget, I want you to go and make your own right now and leave in the comment section what you did and how you did it and how did it work for you. And don't forget, you can also switch up the meat. You can use ground pork, ground chicken, ground lamb, whatever you want. Switch up the spices that you put in there. Just make it your own recipe and tell us how you did. Don't forget to like and subscribe our page. And don't forget also, I keep saying don't forget, I'm sorry, but don't forget that we are going to be back next week with another video. So all you have to do to make sure that you see it is just click that little subscribe button right there and you won't miss a thing. So, all right, again, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.